My name is Litia and I'm from the beautiful island of Laos and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Casey, I'm from Tabua. We love Today FM in Tabua. Today FM rocks.
My name is Selina, I'm from Tavengavengamba. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Pula, my name is Carlo. I love listening to the music in Today FM, in Malak Island. Today FM rock.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news tonight, Prime Minister takes over COP23 presidency. A twist in the case of a man declared dead.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spade.
Prime Minister Vorengem Bainimarama has officially taken over the presidency of the 23rd session of the Conference of the Parties in Bonn, Germany. Wasting no time, Bainimarama set the agenda for negotiators with the aim of agreeing to a 1.5 degrees Celsius cap on global warming, as well as opening up an oceans pathway in the discussions of global climate action. Maggie Boyle reports.
Mr. Frank Bainimarama, Prime Minister of Fiji.
Bonn was turned into the Buller Zone and traditional ceremonies accompanied the official changeover of the COP presidency.
To meet our commitments in full, not back away from them, and to commit ourselves to the most ambitious target of the Paris Agreement, to cap the global average temperature at 1.5 degrees Celsius over that of the pre-industrial age.
Bainimarama heeding delegates about the urgency of our climate catastrophe if we do not act now.
By aiming for 1.5 degrees, we are setting ourselves a serious challenge. But it provides us with a mission. It engages our capacity for ingenuity, for organization, and sheer hard work.
The COP23 president also ensuring the Pacific remained a critical element of discussions.
As president of COP23, we are launching an ocean pathway to ensure the ocean is an integral part of our UN FCCC process by 2020. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, this is our moment of truth.
Walking the talk on sustainable change, the climate change minister, Ayasaid Kiyum, launched the nationally determined contributions.
The roadmap sets out progressive renewable initiatives targeted towards reducing 30% of Fiji's carbon dioxide emissions over the next 13 years from a business-as-usual baseline of 1.5 million tons of carbon dioxide.
Fiji is expected to push 3 key priorities at COP23. This will include the consensus on the implementation of the Paris Agreement, the Facilitative Dialogue 2018, and setting goals for 2020. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
COP23 President and Prime Minister Vorengem Bainimarama has revealed that there are 3 key issues that the Fijian delegation will be pushing to get consensus on over the next 2 weeks. In a briefing with Fiji's delegates, Bainimarama stressed that while he was thankful for the comprehensive work that has been done, now the delegation has to convince the rest of the world. The COP23 meeting officially began yesterday in Bonn, Germany, with close to 20,000 delegates attending from 145 countries.
We've been given a mandate. The mandate is given to us by the parties through UNFCCC. You must remember all that. We've been given a mandate, and initially we were given the Paris Agreement and facilitative dialogue, but over the last couple of weeks, we've been given an additional mandate, which is the 2020.
The COP23 meeting is taking place at a moment where countries are conscious of the risks of climate change and the impact and suffering it produces. So there is optimism that the negotiations will see good progress in making the Paris Agreement operational. Eleanor Tarangaivu with this report from Germany.
With the theme Further, Faster Together, the COP23 presidency and the UNFCCC are confident negotiations over the 2 weeks will meet the goals set in the Paris Agreement.
We are expecting to have good progress on completing the structure for making the Paris Agreement operational.
However, the UNFCCC Executive Secretary also admits that pledges made so far under the Paris Agreement are not enough to meet the objectives.
we need to look at ways to enhance ambition. We call it in the process, we speak about enhancing ambition. That it really means to making higher goals in all areas. Adaptation, mitigation, in different areas.
Hundreds of meetings and plenaries are also happening on the sides of the main negotiations, with the aim that it will cover all items in the international agenda.
Because climate change is linked to every single item of development. So we're really, we think that this will allow us to underline the urgency of action.
With Fiji being the first Pacific island to hold presidency of a COP meet, there is optimism of the Talanoa format that it is bringing to the negotiations this year.
We worked for many months to ensure that there is a strong Bulla spirit at this COP, a spirit which really shows how important the work of this COP is for the Pacific, but not just for the Pacific, for the entire world. It's really important that we all work together in the next few days to ensure that the Paris Agreement has an effective work program, that we all work together to get progress in relation to the Paris Agreement work program.
The Talanoa format allows countries to come together and have a joint assessment of its pledges to the reducing of carbon emission and lets them set a new level of ambition. Eleanor Turangibio, FBC News.
59-year-old Jay Narayan claims he was pronounced dead by a doctor at CWM Hospital in Suva in 2013. However, a very much alive Narayan appeared in the High Court today, claiming he was administered the wrong medication that caused his unconsciousness, which led to the death diagnosis. Pranita Prakash reports.
Narayan is seeking compensation over the incident which has left him traumatized and unable to go back to the hospital for medical treatment. During the trial this morning, Narayan explained the events of 2013. He told the court he was at home and started developing pains on his right side when he was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. He said that a female doctor attended to him and he informed the doctor that he was allergic to penicillin. Narayan claimed that the doctor ignored whatever he said and gave him a penicillin injection, after which he collapsed and has no memory of almost 2 hours. He lay unconscious in a hospital bed. Narayan said that when he gained consciousness, he saw his relatives around him who were crying. He said his relatives informed him that the doctor had told them that he has died. Meanwhile, the defense said that the doctors had never declared him dead. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
3 men convicted of raping their 14-year-old nephew in Tailevu 2 years ago have each been sentenced to 14 years imprisonment by the High Court. The sexual attack occurred in Tailevu between November 2015 and March of this year. Pranita Prakash reports.
The first accused is 40 years old, the second accused is 36 years old and the third accused is 52 years old. The High Court judge said that the victim was 12 years old at the time of the incident and incapable of giving consent to sodomy. He also said that unlawful sodomy is classified as rape under the Crimes Act. The judge also said that the victim and the accused stayed in the same village and it is the duty of the elders to look after the young ones and be a role model to them. The 3 were told that they did not show any regard to the victim's rights as a child. The court also said that rape and abuse of a child will not be tolerated and the community denounces such acts. A non-parole period of 12 years has also been imposed. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Penalties will be the last resort for bus drivers who fail to adhere to the law. The unpleasant attitude of some bus drivers towards passengers has come under the spotlight. Consultations were conducted in Suva this afternoon, where the public highlighted the rude behaviour portrayed by some drivers at different times. Rachel Nath with the details.
Committee Chair Joel Abraham says they will carefully scrutinise issues to improve the bus industry.
Driver conduct has been highlighted, and if the issue continues, of course, we will work in collaboration with the Fiji Bus Operators Association to ensure that such issues are ironed out.
The committee plans to conduct awareness sessions with the operators to aid the bus drivers.
To ensure that these issues are made known to them, and I mean, if all else fails, then of course the regulations and the laws will come into place where then you'll have a penalty system put in place.
Fiji Bus Operators Association representative Uday Singh says if the attitude issue is not nipped, then drivers will be taken to task.
We fail to contain the issue at the initial stage, then sorry, enforcement takes over. Simple as that. We're not going to compromise with drivers who are breaking law.
Meanwhile, the last leg of the face-to-face consultations will be held in Nosoris Syria Park tomorrow. However, those unable to attend these consultations are advised to send in their views by an email, text or post. Rachel Nath, FBC News.
Still to come, holistic approach needed for released inmates. And it was all about the hats and horses earlier today. Stay with us.
Ranalika, o tikongon na tao no Singatoka, ando talitaka na wakaronga ng Bula FM, number 2 na sere.
Ya dora subuni kurna bili. Borani bat sekarang hambara binaranga. Do talitaki na wakaronga ng Bula FM, number 2 na sere. Bula!
Bula FM, number 2 na sere.
Families and society plays a vital role in helping rehabilitate inmates when they are released from prison. The Fiji Corrections Service says the rehabilitation work is not only for them, but requires the whole nation to assist, especially when inmates are back in society. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Ex-con. It's a tag that any person will carry with them for the rest of their lives if they're ever incarcerated.
We are very thankful to the families, the friends that have supported some of their kids and their loved ones that are currently under our care. We've changed that philosophy for the back prison. Whether it's genuine, whether the reconciliation internally within the families are genuine. You know, it's easy for us, we can take them back to their families. But we want the keys to the second prison to be brought into us, and we see it happen.
This is one major area the Fiji Corrections Service is changing, making sure that they are not the only ones involved in the rehabilitation of inmates.
Now we have changed the concept. Previously we used to take them out to their homes and their villages and families. Now we're calling the families to come down to prison. On the day that they are discharged, the supervisor of the respective division sits them down with their families and addresses them in front of their family members, their loved ones. This is to mirror and reinforce what we're pushing through the Yellow Ribbon program, because the keys to the second prison are held by our loved ones and those out in the community.
There's always challenges faced when rehabilitating any inmate. However, the Fiji Corrections Service continues to approach the issues with an open mind.
Families likewise, because sometimes they look at the past of the inmates' lives and still hold on to those. And I think that breaking the barrier within the family system is very important, in which we tried our best. And that is part of the rehab that we have now. We call it the Institution Sentence Planning Board meeting, in which right from the beginning we include them into the plan that we have for the inmates, the treatment that we need to journey together with the family members.
It was also noted that majority of rehabilitation with inmates have been successful. However, more still needs to be done. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
The Land Transport Authority has undertaken an amendment to its regulations whereby bus drivers can be charged for not carrying disposable cards. Independent Bus Fare Review Committee Chair Joel Abraham says bus drivers can be charged with a fine of up to $1,000 for failure to carry disposable cards.
It is all in efforts to ensure that the services are made available to the travelling public and that people are able to travel without issues.
The accreditation of theological institutions in Fiji will no longer be the work of the Fiji Higher Education Commission. This follows the agreement reached by the Commission and the South Pacific Association of Theological Schools today. Sainiani Boiler reports.
Providing accreditation services to 25 registered theological schools from around the Pacific, SPETS will now accredit programs in all theological schools around the country.
They're very much a quality assurance body that reaches right across the region and right across the Pacific. But they actually have specialist knowledge in theological programs which we actually don't have that capacity to do.
SPETS President Carolina Chambers says for the past years they have been trying to establish networks with other national accreditation agencies to find a way forward in ensuring coordination and alignment with accreditation system and processes.
Coming in the partnership with Fiji Higher Education Commission is something that we believe is actually going to raise up the standard of theological education, but it's also will show to the schools that we are actually want quality theological education, and so
SPETS will now accredit the 9 theological schools currently registered under the Fiji Higher Education Commission. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
The Melbourne Cup is about more than horses and betting. It's also the biggest day on the fashion calendar for many keen racegoers. Here in Fiji, many people made an effort to show up at work in style and glamour, adding to the race fever at the office. Kelly Vavala reports.
Not all of us are able to make it to the track on Melbourne Cup Day, so locals host functions and dress up to make sure they don't miss out on the race that stops a nation.
A nice way for people to dress up, and there's not too many places where you can wear a hat, wear a fascinator and wear it and show it off.
Fiji, I think we'll be influenced by it. Watching them in a few places around Suva, dressed like different hats, different kinds of dresses, colorful ones.
Many say the Melbourne Cup is an opportunity for everyone to come together to cheer for their favourite and enjoy the excitement of the event.
To be part of the Melbourne Cup atmosphere that, thousands of people would be feeling right here in Australia as well.
I think that it's an opportunity for the ladies just to dress up and have fun.
Meanwhile, major business houses held a Melbourne Cup event today at the Grand Pacific Hotel in Suva.
Everyone gets involved, and in the offices around the country today I know people will be dressed up and wearing their ladies will have their hats and their dresses on, and the gents will dress up as well, so it's an exciting time. People will have a little flutter on the horses, but it's really just about enjoying the day and having a good time.
Win or lose, the Melbourne Cup is about far more than horse racing. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Ahead in sports with Jamie, we have all the action from the Melbourne Cup race, but up next is Rachel with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening, and coming up in business tonight, FNPF releases great financial results. And in growing Fiji, FRA continues with roadworks around the country. Stay with us.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकु रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1। इट्स सो हॉट।
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट।
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेफ्रिकी से। मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट। आई लव मिर्ची एफएम।
हमें स्पिन टकटाबुआ के मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट।
In business, the FNPF financial results for this year are out and are much better than last year. General Manager Member Services Alipate Wanga Nirawai says the total cannot be released at the moment, but it was a productive year and members will be informed of the result this week. According to the GM, FNPF Chief Executive Chachi Koroi will present the statement this week in Lambasa and answer any questions regarding the FNPF. This will be an opportune time for the northern members to seek clarification on the results as well as any other FNPF services. There will be further presentations in Suva and the West.
This is a time for us to come and take views from our members and all interested stakeholders and members of the public on any matters they wish to question the FNPF. It is a requirement by law that we conduct these annual member forums, and we would like to invite everyone to come in to take full use of this opportunity and come in to attend one of these member forums.
And we now join Sharon from HFC Bank with the latest from the trading world.
Let's have a quick look at some of the major news making headlines in the financial markets today. The US dollar stumbled against other currencies this morning. Concerns related to proposed US tax revisions and the future composition of the Federal Open Market Committee discouraged traders. The Australian dollar gained at least 16 basis points when the markets opened. This was supported by positive sentiments concerning expected interest rate announcement from the Reserve Bank of Australia. Meanwhile, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand is expected to announce its interest rate decision on Thursday, while the Reserve Bank of Australia is releasing its monetary policy statement on Friday. And that's the market update for now.
Thanks, Sharon. Looking at today's exchange rates and foreign currencies in the Fijian dollar. The Fijian dollar strengthened against the Chinese yuan and the American dollar to close at 3.14 and 47 cents respectively, while the Australian and New Zealand dollars weakened, closing at 61 cents and 67 cents, while the PNG Kina was rather up to close at 133. As for the commodities market, an increase across the index today, with oil prices closing at 57.26 a barrel. Gold closed at 1,281 an ounce, and silver closed at 17.20 an ounce. And in Growing Fiji tonight, the Fiji Roads Authority has identified more than 20 roads in the Greater Suva area that need upgrading for the next 2 months. Chief Executive Jonathan Moore says this is part of the Suva rehabilitation scheme, and plans are already in the pipeline to provide alternative routes.
Well, like Amy Street is one of the target roads. There are some more roads off Victoria Parade that are being done, going right out around by Victoria Parade, Prince's Road as well. But the idea of that is to make the traffic management as efficient as possible, so we can get the job done as fast as possible. It may involve closing entire roads. Sounds dramatic and sounds serious, and it is serious. But within Suva, there are plenty of alternatives we can use.
And that's business this evening. Now to sports. Here's Jamie.
Thank you, Rachel, and good evening. Coming up, rekindling races to victory at Melbourne Cup. And we meet the Australian side here to compete at the Oceania Sevens. This and more after the break.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ. मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1. इट्स सो हॉट.
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे. मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट.
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेफ्रिकी से. मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं. मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट. आई लव मिर्ची एफएम.
हमें स्पिन तो हुआ कि मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे.
मिर्ची एफएम, इट्स हॉट.
It was a battle between father and son at Flemington Racecourse this afternoon. Joseph O'Brien beating his father to Melbourne Cup glory, training Rekindling to win Australia's greatest race. Rekindling edged Johannes Vermeer, trained by his dad Adrian O'Brien, in the closing stages, while Max Dynamite finished third. And we join Rohit Deo live now with an update of how local punters did with today's race. Rohit, you didn't look too happy after the race this afternoon, but please tell us how the lucky people did.
Well, Jamie, we'll save that story for another day. But here with me today is the Grants betting operations manager, Vijayan Kumar. Mr. Kumar, in terms of betting and punters, how did things go as far as Grants betting is concerned today?
Well, right, you know, when it comes to Melbourne Cup, everybody wants to be part of it. Whether win or lose, it's not a big issue. But people, they want to be part of the Melbourne Cup. And as I said, keep saying earlier that you must bet small amount and take the excitement of betting. So winning and losing is beside the point, but I think most of the people, they have enjoyed betting on the Melbourne Cup and watching the race live.
Now there was a surprise winner in the end. How did the odds fare at the end of the race?
Well, when you look at the field, I was keep telling from the day one that all the horses qualify for the Melbourne Cup and everybody got a chance to win the Melbourne Cup. So like Rekindling is it has a good track record and it ran very well and it won the Melbourne Cup. With the second horse, number 7, Johannes Vermeer, it came second with $4.50 place, and third was Max Dynamite. It ran third, I think, last year, and it ran third again this year. So it was trying hard, Max Dynamite.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Well, if you also placed bet earlier today and you're unsure if you had won or no, you can always come here and clarify your doubts. Jamie.
Thanks for that, Rohit. Meanwhile, earlier today, thousands of Fijians made a last-minute rush to place a few dollars on their favorite horse. While some bet with high hopes of winning, for others, it was just to try their luck and be part of the Melbourne Cup hype. Rohit there with this report.
It was that day of the year when betting outlets were going to be packed. It was quite clear who the favorite horse was.
I think it's going to be again number 2, Al Maldin, ridden by Mr. D.L. Detroit. He's going to win this cup again.
I think Almadin will win the race.
I think number 2, Almadin will win for this year.
Why?
It won last year with big margin. Still fit, the weight still there. And he's running at track 14, I think will win again this year.
However, there were a few who opted not to go with the favorite.
Only 3 horses I can give you. Number 9 is a light jockey, is a light horse in this running this year. And number 6 and number 21. That's the I was choosing those 3 horses.
1, 3, and 5. This is my first time, so not sure.
Number 8, because that horse will win.
Why?
Because mostly he's famous in this race.
After the completion of today, there were some who went home smiling, while for many others, they'll have to wait for another 12 months for the next Melbourne Cup. Rohit there, FBC Sports.
The Australian team in Fiji to compete at the Oceania Sevens aims to set the platform ahead of the World Rugby 7 series with a win over some of the best in the sport. Players in the development squad also hoping to impress the Australian Rugby Union and land a contract ahead of the World Series. Vasnil Prasad with the details.
Only 4 players part of this Australian rugby team are contracted. For others, their performance during the 2-day tournament will determine their future with the RU.
To have a point to prove as individuals and as well as a team, so yeah, definitely.
Apart from getting a spot into the Australian team, they're also aiming to win the Oceania Sevens this year.
Definitely got a bit of an underdog tag as that sort of development side, coming up against the national sides from Fiji and New Zealand. But look, we're a young squad, but we're hungry and we're ready to go.
Australia have been on a winning mode in the pre-season tournament so far, but the Aussies are aware of the tough challenge here in Fiji.
Fiji is world class. You know, they're Olympic champions for a reason. So we're under no illusion that every time you beat Fiji, well, they're going to lift the next time.
They kick off their campaign against Solomon Islands at 4 p.m. on Friday. Vasnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Airways Flying Fijians will be without forward Domenico Wangari-Morotu for its test match against Italy on Sunday. Wangari-Morotu is out with injury but isn't expected to be missing for long. Vasnil Prasad reports.
Experienced forward Domenico Wangari-Morotu will miss the first test match after pulling a hamstring injury playing club rugby last weekend.
He's been rehabbing there, so we've let him remain with his club and continue his rehab, and we'll monitor his condition and maybe he can join the camp next week when we travel to Ireland.
The national coach is confident Wangari-Morotu will return by the second test against Ireland next week, and hence Maki will not add any extra players to his squad. Maki says his focus is on set pieces before the Italy match.
It's more intensive day. We'll be training units specific in the morning, so the forwards will be working on scrum and line out, and in the backs on their attacking formation. And
Fiji Rugby Union Chief Executive Officer John O'Connor says they hope to secure more top matches in the future.
Be competitive against Italy, tier 1 nations, and continue the good performance of the team that we've already.
The Flying Fijians take on Italy at 3 a.m. on Sunday. Vasnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
Vodafone Fiji football coach Christophe Gamel is still not pleased with his side's preparations ahead of their match against Estonia. Gamel says while things are well in camp, he expects quality football from his players. The national coach rates Estonia very highly and wants his side to be prepared for any situation.
Some of them, yes, but it's not enough at all. And as I told you, The camp is going well. It's not the problem. The quality is not there, not enough. I have to work more, give them all the possibility to how to answer to the hard game, because they are 80, don't forget, and we have seen all their game. They are very good.
The national side plays Estonia at Suva's NZ Stadium a week from Sunday. In today's Play of the Day, some action from the friendly between the Vodafone Fiji football side and Lautoka last Sunday. Current Rewa and former Lambasa stopper Peli Loanideva made this penalty save in the match, then got straight back up to make another save. That's it from sports tonight. Join Angie later on with weather, and in our World of the Weird and Wonderful segment, a look at the new fancy feature at Singapore Airport. Catch that after the break.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ. मिर्ची एफएम is number 1. It's so hot.
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे. मिर्ची एफएम is hot.
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेफ्रिकी से. मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं. मिर्ची एफएम is hot. I love मिर्ची एफएम.
हमें स्पिन टकता हुआ कि मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
In new media, a divisive alt-right blogger with thousands of Twitter followers has been unmasked as a product of Russia's infamous troll farm. Twitter troll Jenna Abrams, who had amassed more than 70,000 followers, was exposed following an investigation into Russian interference in last year's presidential election by the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee. It's weather time now with Angie.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World. Finally, the sun was out and made us all smile. It was incredible. Well, the sun sure did make things lively around here. Looking at the west, skies were wonderful, very clear. I can smell the holiday spirit already. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, a sunny day with little drops of rain, but all was majorly clear. And up north, partly cloudy skies were around, but fresh winds blew it away. At sea, southeast winds 20 to 25 knots with rough seas. And for the tides, high tide tonight will be at 8:48 with low tide tomorrow morning at 3:19. See the beauty of sunrise at 6:24. For tomorrow, it will be a hot day. Guess it's laundry time. There will be some rain clouds forming, but with only 10% chances of rain, so that's quite low. Tomorrow's temps, the Western Division will be quite hot with highs of 30 degrees, so get ready with your sunscreens. And looking further on to Thursday, the rain will surround us once again, so get out and enjoy the sun while it's around. And that's all from the FBC Weather World. Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. On Fiji Pulse today, we asked, is the current traffic affecting you in the morning for work or school?
Yes, it affects me in a way that moving from one place to another, it's very hard for me to get to the place I'm going to.
And yes, traffic jam usually makes me late for work every morning.
The chaos is quite disorderly, but we are now, we've got an office on 385 Princess Road, so it doesn't affect us because I'm on the opposite direction. That's one of the reasons why we chose our office to be on Princess Road, to make sure that we are on the opposite side of the traffic.
What's wrong about the road is that the work is closed right now, but only that affected in Otwang area.
Recapping the main stories, Prime Minister takes over COP23 presidency, a twist in the case of a man declared dead, and Rekindling wins 2017 Melbourne Cup. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we are asking, should the Pacific Islands have a team in the National Rugby League competition in Australia? Visit our FBC website to take part. Before we go, our shot of the day comes from the jet-set town of Nandi, sent in by Seriana Semo, showing the beautiful surroundings of the CAF compound. We'd like to encourage all our viewers to send in more beautiful pictures of our beautiful Fiji. Simply email them to fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or like us and share it on our Facebook page, FBC News. You can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, good night.
Pero ndo talita kana barorong na Radio Fiji 1 and domoy viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Ultimo minasong butikola ndo talita kana Radio Fiji 1 kana domoy viti.
Ayaw kuyago sila tale. Nagurara may nawamanyi nandunga. Gitu talita gini ang gitu pinasabale po nagundurong barong na Radio Fiji 1 nandomoy viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 nandomoy viti na bonga ni BNN.